Superman is one of the most famous superheroes of all time, but have you ever wondered if his superpowers could actually exist? I'm Angel Polanco, and today we are gonna look into Superman powers with science, and I will answer to the question, what would happen if Superman were real? And by the end of the video you will know why no one recognizes Superman with glasses. First, we need to talk about his home planet, Krypton, because this will give us many clues about his powers. Superman was born on Krypton, a giant planet with 33 times Earth's gravity that orbits a red sun. That means if you set foot there, you'd end up squashed like a pancake, exactly like Willy Coyote, when an anvil falls on his head. The atmosphere is also much denser, and the air contains different types of minerals. This caused Kryptonians to evolve with ultra-dense bones and super-resistant muscles just to survive there. Under these conditions, Kryptonians are just normal people, like me, like you. But what will happen if they go to another planet, like ours? When Kal-El arrives on Earth, a planet with 33 times less gravity than what he's adapted to, his Kryptonian physiology allows him to acquire super strength and superhuman agility. It will be exactly like Goku taking off his weight and clothing to fight. Plus, we have a yellow sun. In the comics, it's established that Kryptonian cells absorb solar energy. Since our sun has more energy than Krypton's red sun, it provides a constant recharge. Literally, Superman has the power of the sun in the palm of his hand. Is there any way to explain this scientifically? The first thing we think of when we talk about absorbing energy from the sun is photosynthesis. Basically, using chlorophyll to capture photons and convert them into chemical energy, like glucose. That's how plants grow and live. So, unless Superman has green skin or some alien pigment we don't know about, like supermelanin, it will be difficult for him to absorb solar energy this way. What is certain is that if we try to absorb that much sun, we'd either get cancer or spontaneously combust. Let's assume that's scientifically possible to get the super strength in this way. How strong does that make Superman? According to the comics, he's capable of lifting 2 billion tons. That's like lifting 34 Great Walls of China at the same time. Tell me, what's the first thing you will do if you had Superman powers? You might think that if we travel to a planet with lower gravity than Earth, we'd get Superman's ability. Sadly, that's not true. Earth's gravity is actually quite small, so going to a place with even lower gravity will just make us float, muscles to support ourselves or move. So, we'd actually lose muscle mass. This is exactly what happens to astronauts when they go to the moon. However, if Earth's gravity were 3 times stronger, we might have evolved greater muscles and durability, similar to Superman. So, the only option left for us is to use a Lex Luthor-style exoskeleton to try and increase our strength. Okay, so we can have super strength, but what about flight? In the beginning, Superman didn't fly, he just jumped really high, but for the sake of animation and the script, the creators decided it was cooler if he simply flew. But scientifically, how does he do it? One explanation says that Superman manipulates his own gravitational field, thanks to a bioelectric aura generated by solar radiation. This aura is like an invisible energy bubble that he controls at will. If that were true, Superman could slightly curve space-time, which would allow him to float, accelerate in mid-air, change direction, and stop on a dime. Another theory proposes the existence of gravitons, hypothetical particles responsible for gravity. In this case, that bioelectric aura could be an invisible layer of gravitons that Superman manipulates like he has a quantum jetpack, but without the fuel. So, what about Superman's heat vision? With just 1 minute of sun exposure, he can fire beams with the power of a high-grade military laser. If he spends a whole year absorbing solar energy, he could release the equivalent of a Moab bomb. And if he accumulates that energy for 713 years, it will be like launching a nuclear bomb from his eyes. So, I guess Superman bends energy every now and then or controls how much he releases so he doesn't turn pickpockets into charcoal. Now, let's talk about the most famous weakness he has, kryptonite. It's a radioactive alien mineral, residue from the explosion of the planet Krypton. Its most iconic form is that glowing green rock that weakens Superman almost instantly. But does it make scientific sense? Option 1. Interfering radiation. It could emit a type of radiation that interferes with Superman's solar metabolism, blocking his cells, receptors, and destabilizing them from the inside. Option 2. Destructive resonant frequency There is a real physical phenomenon where, if you vibrate something at its natural frequency, you can break it, like when an opera singer shatters a wine glass. Kryptonite could vibrate at the exact same frequency as Kryptonian cells, causing pain, energy collapse. And now the question you were looking for: why no one recognizes Clark Kent? Clark Kent wears glasses, has a clumsy posture, and uses a soft voice. He's a total corporate drone versus the absolute chat that is Superman. But is that enough to fool everyone? Well, in some comics, it's been mentioned that his glasses are made of a type of Kryptonian glass that can hypnotize people to confuse them, so they don't notice his identity. Honestly, there is no scientific explanation for that one. There's another alternative, but it might not be official, but has a more scientific background. There is a neurological disorder called prosopagnosia or face blindness. People with prosopagnosia can see perfectly, can distinguish objects, recognize voices, clothes, or gestures, but they cannot identify faces, not even their own. It affects the fusiform gyrus of the brain, specifically the fusiform face area. So, either everyone at the Daily Planet has prosopagnosia, or Superman is secretly injuring this region of their brains so they don't recognize him. In fact, there are studies where patients can only identify family members by their voice or the way they walk. It affects about 2.5% of the world's population. Maybe that's why you don't recognize people on the street and then they get mad that you didn't say hi. If you like this mix of science and pop culture, I invite you to give a like, subscribe, comment, share it with your friends that wants to learn more about the scientific truth on superpowers and super characters. And I invite you to watch my video on what if How to Train Your Dragon is real. See you next time.